So in order to discuss the idea that music makes us smarter, let's just jump back a few hundred years and just discuss Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart for a second. He was labeled as a genius by his father. My kids are geniuses too, just so you guys know. Here's the thing, he wasn't actually a genius. From the day that he could sit up, his father had him sitting, playing piano, practicing, day in, day out, all the time. That's why he was brilliant. It's because he worked hard, not because he was a genius. And everybody would say, but wait, he first wrote his first song at the age of 5. We don't know that for sure. Okay. All of his early manuscripts were written in his father's hand. So where it's likely that the melody maybe came from Mozart, his father probably had a little bit of influence on the orchestration. What seems more plausible, a 5-year-old writing a full symphony, or his father, a composer who put all of his children out there, exploited them for 100% of his money? Yeah. This is an fMRI machine. It evaluates blood flow telling us that the brain is working and neurons are firing. What neurologists found was that the brain lit up completely, globally, every time they introduced the subject of music. And this is actually the brain scan of a jazz pianist playing the piano. And what was interesting is as soon as he stopped, his brain kept going. It's kind of like a full-on, full-body workout, but for the brain. Sort of like CrossFit, if you're into that whole working out thing. Now, the last weight hits the floor. The body keeps firing and it keeps building. The brain is doing the same thing. We just don't realize how hard the brain is working because it's not posting every successful deadlift on Facebook. CrossFitters, you know who you are. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on during this massive workout. The brain is being flooded with information. Copious amounts of information is going into the brain. And by combining the math, the linguistics, and the precision with the creative and the novel content that music has to offer, the synapses are firing back and forth across the 2 hemispheres of the brain continually, kind of creating a bunch of little spaces and turning the brain into a massive problem-solving machine. Now, after some dedicated work and some time, the brain starts to get faster. It starts to get more involved and it gets bigger and stronger. We're sort of turning the brain into a major filing system. Think the Google Cloud here. Our brains, after a long time of work, are going to become a massive search engine. So let's put the biological side of this aside and just look fully academic. Any of you who have children know that this is the most powerful rhythm on the planet. It can silence a room of 200 5-year-olds like that. Seriously, it's amazing. But somebody's doing it. So the interesting thing about this rhythm is it has a fractal breakdown. Now each of the fractions underneath here that we're adding together corresponds to the note, which corresponds to the amount of space that it takes up in the measure. That sounds super complicated, right? Well, let's scoot forward about 5 years and look at what a 10-year-old is going to see. We just got way more involved. So they have to come up with this and understand it, decode it, implement it in the course of a couple of seconds. So Common Core can kind of suck it, because this is harder. In music, we also have to look at the history of things. We can discuss the stodgy church people and then of the Baroque period, but then we can also go into the Romantic period. Their music is going to play totally differently. I mean, give homage to the hippies. Essentially, even after we understand that there's a historical background to what we have to learn, we also have to learn that music comes from all over the world. So when we put a kid in front of their music, they have to understand that they have to decode multiple different foreign languages, not just one, all the languages across the world. Now, on top of that, they also have to understand in a performance, precision is key. The muscles of the face, the arms, the neck, the lungs, everything has to be going 100% of the time, 100% precise. I mean, no pressure on that 10-year-old, but hey, you screw up and your performance is over, right? So some people will say that music can be just listened to, and gosh, we listen to music all the time and now we're smarter. Well, no, that's baloney. That would be like watching, a bunch of guys sitting on the couch talking about football and they're going to become professional athletes. It's just not going to happen. So you have to do it. You have to be an active participant in order to have the, what? Oh, I had the Saturday, I dated myself. I put a Saturday Night Live photo from 25 years ago. But anyway, so the problem with what's happening in our country right now is that the schools are cutting their music programs left and right. And they're cutting it to make room for more math, more science, more language. And the problem with that is it's backward logic. We have this thing that covers all of those subjects, and we're taking up space with high stakes testing. Howard County alone this year cut 30% out of their elementary school education. It's a huge number. Think about that, 30%. That's big. So we already know, unless you've been living under a rock in Slovakia, we know that music makes us smarter. It's been proven time and time again. The question that we have to ask ourselves, are you willing to step up and do what it takes to keep music part of our schools? Thank you.